Hey, universe. All right, it's now 10:30, so I'm obviously muddled because after listening to the last one, it's not like you want to be right on this stuff. In fact, the first thing you do is just completely 180 the information and say this is nonsense of a self-important, fantastical order. None of this has any qualitative resonance other than what I'm dreaming, so dismiss it offhandedly as the first reaction. And then it just keeps showing up. For instance, having the timeline wrong. How is it possible that we could be hundreds of thousands of years wrong on the timeline? Well, the fact is, that wouldn't take anything at all. In fact, that would be one of the easier things to manipulate. All it would take is some level of organizational control over historical text, which could have been throttled hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, 50 years ago. You can throttle this at any point in time, create a situation what used to be, and then march forward with the understanding that that is what always was. It is shockingly easy to dupe the masses. But duping the masses is just one element of sequestering truth. Truth has a way of ferreting out. It is the water that crawls through the cracks of your facade. You do not get to just disregard truth as negligible. It is the persistent force that you must contain at all turns, twists, and developments. And that part's hard. I don't think we figured that part out. I'm going to check out this text, because maybe this text is going to tell me the difference, but I really don't think we figured that part out. Okay. But after you've come through the honeymoon period of thinking that it's all just nonsense, and you start to get less specific information, more esoteric information. And when I speak of swirling energy, this has been the focal point of most of the consequential dreaming I've done. And I speak of dreams in a way that, in some ways, I feel as if I've had a near-death experience. Now, I say this because it's as if I have the resonance of all of the coming back part without having actually experienced the death. Other than one time in January of 2018, when I was alone in the house and think what I had was the beginning of COVID. That could have been a near-death experience, but I don't have any kind of specific resonance with any of that. But I feel as though I've had the changes in life that accompany that. Is that Mandela effect shift the equivalent of a near-death experience? I wouldn't be so preposterous as to hazard a yes there. It is disruptive, but you haven't gone otherworldly. You've just experienced a fracture in reality. If anything, the Mandela effect makes me feel more and more like I must be a non-player character. Like, that's who would update and shift realities with a circumstance as if imported to a different save file. So, regardless, if you experience anything that has you question your very existence and space and time reality as you've known it your entire thought process of consciousness. And this doesn't come with the comfort of an NDE. If anything, it does seem like there is some level of internal peace achieved through the experience that near-death experiencers translate as much as they can to the community. I think they're a vital resource, obviously. And I'm not trying to impose upon an experience as profound and as specific as theirs. I'm just trying to quantify what I'm going through. I do feel like I've come back in a recognition of space and time that is nothing more than to be understanding, to be kind, and to be forgiving. There's a lot of resonance with the community that has gone through near-death experience, that they feel like their life is now dedicated to similar platforms. So, have I learned a new skill, artistic or otherwise? Not that I've seen. I'm still terribly ilharmonic when it comes to anything musical. And, hey, Phoebe, maybe you should stop licking your paw. I think we need to pause and give Phoebe a walk. Plus, I have no idea what I'm talking about again, as always. So, you start having these dreams where the context of the dream is always about cycles of influence. How what we're perceiving as a cinematic experience of Act 1, 2, 3. Nope. Okay, the breathing I suppose we can take, but not the nails. Anyhow, what seems like an A, B, C, D, E, all the way to Z, where whatever happens after Z is unknown, but we all end at Z, experience isn't what's happening truly. That the concept of time even is in a fluidic structure of cycles of influence, both past and present, into the future, back into the past. It is the sort of nonsensical blah, 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 that when you get out of dreamland, you think, oh, dreams are fun. Dreams are silly. Dreams are full of stupid thoughts. And then you start having these personal at stake moments of revelation occur where you're almost shown crossroads in your own life. You're shown times when you took a left instead of a right. You knew what was at stake, but you decided one way because the other meant something different. Well, you start being exposed to what your life looks like had those things gone other directions. And in some cases, what you're shown is life comes exactly back to the point it was always intended to show, which was here, at this point in time, with this set of circumstances, including circumstances like me being essentially unattached to anything in the universe. And why all of my cycles ended up at this point? Well, again, I don't think that event has happened yet. Okay, if my dog won't stop licking her paw, then to the other room we must go. But when you see things in other dimensions with a clarity that seems even more believable than the clarity that is your day-to-day, well, then you're going insane, right? That's really about as insane as I can imagine it gets. I just want to live in this reality that I'm imagining because it's so much clearer and more fun and understandable than the one that I'm actually in. You then, my friend, are what we call nuts. So go live in the nut house. Okay. Me and the nuts will go play backgammon. Well, okay. It is nutty. Man, it's not just nutty, it's nutsy. It's full of Z's and it's nutsiness. Nutsiness is, it is nutsy. So what? When did all this collapsing of consciousness start occurring? How can I entertain such ludicrous? Oh, my record stopped playing. Ludicrous. Oh, my record stopped playing. Ludicrous thinking. Well, for one, if we're so full of lies in the other universe I was trying to buy into, you lost me as a student. You sent me down river nihilism only to discover that that wasn't far enough. River denialism wasn't far enough. I needed to go down river, are you fucking kidding me? Ism? because that's the river you guys float your boats in. I don't know why. It makes civilization so much more difficult when you want to manipulate and control it rather than let it organically emerge and exist. I start thinking, well, what are you doing? Why are you manipulating? Why are you disallowing the trains of thought that come with looking at those saw cuts in the remnants underneath the pyramid that say, this had to be done with high-level technology. Technology, perhaps, that we don't even understand. That's just the obvious outcome. So if you want to deny the obvious, well then, I have to ask you why. So, now the door is cracked. Because now I understand that the motivations I thought were pure, that the knowledge I thought had been gained under such circumstance of pure intent previously, weeding out that which, for whatever reason, didn't make the cut. Here we were left with that which we knew. Well, bullshit. Because that which we know is founded on so much shifting sand, its ability to sustain itself has gotten untenable. And yet, as more and more people see now that what we're being told about our ancient past, that the things we know about what we've been told about who we are, as these things unravel, the only question mark left is to what degree are we going to allow those who have always told us the stories about that which exists and will be and has always been and shall come. Well, are we going to listen to them? They've been full of shit this whole time. I don't know why. It's inhuman. But I know our humanity is bigger than their ability to control that which is coming next. So, when I speak like this, what do I sound like? A numbskull. And frankly, in no other way would I want to be understood. Because it seems as though listening to my instincts from within, being guided by the properties of truth at its most fundamental bare exposed level, regardless of what that indicates, and no shame or guilt or fear of where that takes us. Just understanding that kindness will always lead to forgiveness, and through both, we expose that which we are, the greatness that human beings possess, the cooperative spirit to be that which we're always capable of being, collectively, the ascension group that we are together. The Mayans didn't figure anything out. They just started listening to themselves from within. Everybody's capable of it. Nobody is special. Nobody has knowledge that's out of touch with what anybody else can understand. If that's where they start leading you, they're lying. Listen to yourself. The guide from within is the guide that matters. The fact that I even say that now, I'm not on the lunatic fringe. It's not ludicrous. It is. It simply is what it is. Listening to anything else, well, that's what's becoming ludicrous. Okay. It's time to circle all the way back to the access of information element that was the catalyst for the recordings today. I think that's appropriate. And in doing so, I saw a YouTube... Too much YouTube? Sí, por favor. I saw a Bright Insights episode, and Jimmy from Bright Insights is phenomenal. If I'm opening a Burger King, I want Jimmy on my team. If I am taking a piece of legislation through Congress, I want Jimmy on my team. If I am traveling through a remote part of the South American jungle, I want Jimmy on my team. Jimmy is one of the few people I can honestly say there was no activity I would want to move forward on that I wouldn't be happier having him on the team. So, with that much respect paid, his foray into truncated internet results is again, as someone who was heavily involved in digital marketing, is a facet of the reality that I've known about for at least 6 years. That, where you can no longer even get past page 33 or wherever it ends up, that you are officially given no more results. And this did not used to be this way. In fact, there were days I spent going hundreds, if not thousands, of pages deep, analyzing results in a truly monotonous yet eventually fruitful fashion, because the Google algorithm had that much latitude to it. In other words, anything that pulled a relevant search result became accessible information circling a concept, giving you a you want to talk about that whole paradigm shift thing that happened to me in in fifth grade, whatever, when I was shown base 11 math. The initial idea of data mining the internet around a conceptual notion like ancient technology would just flood you with the sort of academic, social nonsense. It just, if someone had made it relevant to the concept, it was now relevant to the index, which made it relevant to your search for millions, if not hundreds of millions of results. People stayed up weeks learning everything they could about everything. And as that information organized and became clearer, well, the yellow brick road led to the current situation of sequestering that information at the highest level. So access to information has morphed enormously throughout my life to the current level of censorship we're experiencing, a point in time, space, and reality I didn't honestly anticipate possible. Yet, knee-deep in censorship we sit, so not only is it possible, it's irrelevant and irresponsible to neglect the fact that we're all suffering it. If you're not willing to face how far we've come from knowing what stark truth, what undeniable truth, what this is what happened truth, how we all agree we're moving forward on a platform of consolidated truth, if we're not willing to come to realization that those very concepts are at threat, well, it's at threat because our access to information is at threat. When I speak of wishing that humanity had created this place we all go to know what we've learned until now so that you can help contribute to what we still don't know in ways that will help us learn more and build on this mountain of knowledge that we all now have access to as part of being gifted this chance to experience 3D reality as a human being. Why doesn't that exist? The internet was coming close to providing it. And I don't know why it doesn't exist. It should exist. I mean, you think it should exist, don't you?